Hi, I'm Amy. This time we're going to talk about how to catch a meteor, otherwise known as a shooting star, in your photograph of the night sky. Now, in a previous video, I covered all the basics, the gear, the settings, where and when to shoot, and focusing, and all the other basic information you needed to know to catch a photograph of the night sky with stars in it. You're going to need to know all of that for this video as well, so if you missed it, here's a 90-second review. For your basic equipment, you need a DSLR camera that you can put in manual mode. You need a sturdy tripod. You'll want a lens with a low f number and a wide angle for panoramas of the sky. And you need a remote shutter release. It's also handy to have a lens warmer if you're shooting in winter, and a red headlamp so that you can see what you're doing in the night. For your camera settings, you want everything to be on manual. You need your ISO at 1600 or higher. Have your camera set at the lowest aperture, or f number, that your lens will allow. And you need to calculate a shutter speed that will avoid star trails. You also want to be sure to shoot in RAW mode. During a new moon is best, or before the moon rises or after it sets. Make sure that you wait until well after sunset, when true night has begun. You want to make sure you're away from the city and sources of light pollution. Try for a dark sky preserve or a national forest. And consider the view of the horizon where your target will be. Focusing at night. Use live view. Zoom in 10 times on a bright star or a distant light. When in doubt, focus during daylight and tape the focus ring in place. Okay, now that you have all that information, what else do you need to know to specifically get a meteor in your photograph? Well, the trick is to do everything you can to increase your odds. So, for example, definitely go out to a dark sky area. Definitely go when the moon is not in the way, when it's down or when it's a new moon. But you also have to know when the peak of the meteor shower is going to be, and you want to go on that night or as close to it as you can. You can generally find this information in the news. They always talk about when the peak of the shower will be. So you want to try to go at that time or as close to it. The other thing you want to do, and this is pretty important, is to use a wide-angle lens. And there are two reasons that you want to do that. First of all, a wide-angle lens covers a great big portion of the sky. And having photographs that cover a bigger portion of the sky increase your chances that you're going to have a photo where a meteor is streaking through it. The other great thing about a wide-angle lens is that you can generally leave the shutter open a little bit longer, and that also increases your chances. Now, the other thing you want to do is just make sure that you give yourself enough time. Plan to spend a couple of hours and just keep taking photographs, one right after the other, back to back. Just take them and enjoy the time that you're spending out there. And you'll find, if you don't look that night, you look the next morning, you might find that you'll end up with a few that have a meteor streaking through it. And even better is you can use the intervalometer that I talked about in the review. What's great is that it will program all of your photos. You can just get it going and it will take all your photographs for you while you just ignore your camera and look up and enjoy the show. Now, there are a couple other things you might want to consider. One is where to set up your camera. Now, there is a thing called the radiant, which is the portion of the sky where the meteors tend to be radiating from, where they seem to be coming from. And it's generally the constellation for which the meteor shower was named. But in all honesty, you never know where they're going to show up in the sky. They could be anywhere. So it's better to just pick a spot and frame your photo accordingly. You can frame your photo, for example, so that you have trees or a fence or something in the bottom, but just stay in that one place and just keep taking your photographs back to back and see what you get. Now you can see with this photo that I tried to do that, but I cut off the trees at the bottom, so it wasn't a great success. But the good news is that this particular photo was only the second time I had ever been out taking photographs of the night sky, and it was during the Perseid meteor shower, and I just stood there for maybe 20 minutes to 30 minutes and just kept taking photographs, and I caught one. So it's definitely possible. So learn to do all of this inside when it's warm, but then take those skills and head out into the night and see what you can catch.